Hey lovely sexy gaming people, welcome to today's video, which is Airfix Model World, November 2023, flick through issue 156. So looks like we have an exclusive on the Fairy Gannet 148 scale that Airfix are releasing. Boba Fett's Slave 1 fire spray ship, and the 1/12 Bellissima Bugatti Italer's Type 35B Racer. Okay, so introduction, our contents. So, what was an MRAP? Right, so Gary Radford tackles kinetics imposing 135 scale 4x4 MRAP. And 148 scale Hurricane, Armour Hobby, and what's this one? Paint It Black. Dean Large completes Isra Deckel's reissued 148 scale T6AC Texan 2, one of the RAF's latest trainers. Okay, another surprise from Airfix. What are we looking at? Airfix has again caught models off guard with a surprise announcement that the 172 scale Black Buck Vulcan B2, with this being one of several recent releases. The Vulcan adds one runner to the existing 9 frames with parts for a Black Buck airframe and the new decal sheet and markings. So for those that don't know, the Black Buck raids were the bombing runs done by the Vulcans to hit Stanley Airfield, I believe it was, in the Falklands during the 1982 Falklands conflict. New parts include AGM-45 strike missiles. Note the latter's adapter is incorrect, but a PDF amendment sheet is available from Airfix by emailing customer services. Interesting. This is a Series 12 kit. It's priced at $72.99, so that's quite expensive. And then they've got a 143 scale starter set Land Rover Series 1. It would be nice. I know they've got a bit of a scale for their vehicles, but it would have been nice to perhaps make it in 148 scale, because at least then, if you wanted, you could pop it into dioramas with other military vehicles of 148 scale, as sort of like a repurposed civilian vehicle, you know, being used by military during conflict. But yeah, it would have been nice. I don't know how much of a difference there'll be between a 143 and 148 scale kit. Two aircraft kits make a welcome return. Airfix's wallet-friendly 172 scale P-51D Mustang is reissued with fresh markings for US 8 Air Force. $8.99. It packs plenty of detail. That's nice. And delightful 172 scale Spitfire Mark 5C. So there you go. The Mandalorian's M1 Starfighter from Revell. Leaping straight from Disney Plus series The Mandalorian, Revell has released updated information on its eagerly anticipated 124 scale N1 Starfighter. So that will put it in the same scale as Airfix's Super Kit series for sort of like the Harrier and the Mosquito. Did they do a Dauntless Helldiver? I know they did. I think they did a United States Navy aircraft of some description in that scale, and obviously the Spitfire that they've done. But yeah, it looks good. Two new Apaches from Tacon. So following swiftly from its initial 135 AH-64DE releases, Tacoma's issued kits for the British AH Mark 1 and Israeli AH-64DI. Azure From's new 148 scale Super Mystere B2. Ryefield Models 148 scale M1240 A1 MATV. Having dazzled modelers with its 135 scale kits, Ryefield Models has turned its attention to the growing appeal of 148 scale with its first offering, the superb M1240 A1 MATV. That looks pretty cool. That's a remote turret it's got on there. Nice. Gorgeous new 172 BF109F from Edward. 172 scale dual combo. And then big scale Thunderbolt from Italeri. So a Mackie MC202 Folgore in 132 scale. Nice. And then Polar Lights have got several releases going on here, which include the Enterprise C, NCC 1701C. I believe that was the Ambassador class, wasn't it? If I remember my lineage. If I remember rightly, obviously the original was a Constitution, A was a Constitution refit, B was an Excelsior class, C was an Ambassador, D was a Galaxy, and E was a Sovereign. I can't remember what the F and the G were because I haven't really seen much about them. Trains for You, 176 scale, Jackal 2. Now this is nice. Here's something different from railway modelling perspective that's also useful for those preferring scale subjects from the 3D printed form. 176 scale, which they're saying is 00 gauge. British Army Jackal 2 from Peterborough Cams based retailer Trains for You. As with most kits of this type, parts count is minimal, with the main chassis and structure coming as a single piece in a rather garish green resin. It's kind of like a green translucent resin from the picture. Onto which I added the wheels and pintle mounted 50 cal machine gun. So there you go. Right, show guide. I will obviously do the photographs and insert them around about now. Subscription, and we're into our first article. Basic build for a Hurricane 148 scale from Armour Hobby. So Hawk Hurricane Mark II-C, and it's €45 from armourhobby.com. Looking at the detail, so it looks like a really nicely detailed kit. Judging by the pictures, the cockpit detail there is fantastic. The completed cockpit made for a substantial and complex looking centerpiece, being well worth the time spent painting and detailing. So they're doing a basic build for this. Yeah, it looks like it builds up into a really nice kit. I do like the grey-green camouflage. I'm not a fan of the brown-green, the khaki green. I do like grey-green. And here's our MRAP 135 scale offering, 4x4 MRAP vehicle. Mine resistant ambush protection, or protected, I should say, is what MRAP stands for. And again, looking at this, it looks to be really well detailed. Side storage boxes benefit from PE grills. The inside was first painted and air dry brushed. Note there is no defined bend mark on the grill though. So this is an intermediate build. So does this come with PE? It looks like it might do. So mine protected vehicles have been around for quite some time. The one which from memory is the first one I came across was the Ratal Bushel, I think it was called, and it was a South African armoured personnel carrier. It's basically a truck with a V-shaped underbody which deflected, because an explosion will always follow the line of least resistance, okay, which is why quite often if you get an explosion in a building, you'll find things like doors are off hinges, windows are all blown out, okay, if it's not a massive blast. If it is a massive blast, then yeah, it can cause destruction of the building, but an explosion will follow the line of least resistance. And if the explosion can be forced up and out across the diagonal undersides of the bottom of the vehicle, then that's going to obviously reduce damage to that vehicle and survivability of the crew and its occupants. So obviously, having come across a lot of IEDs and mines during the Iraq and Afghanistan conflicts, the MRAP vehicles and their survivability is something which has been very much integrated into modern wheeled armoured vehicles nowadays. But the interior looks fab. I mean, for a plastic kit, there's a lot of detail on these panels. XxxX supplies a lovely rendition of the vehicle's tyres with superb tread pattern and above all no mould seams. That's even better then, if there's no mould lines on it. That's just fantastic. And you have a manned turret on this. Army Aviation Heritage. Now, this is somewhere I really would like to go. The newly refurbished and extended museum offers a wide selection of exhibits detailing the history of Army aviation. Well-curated layout and helpful staff make this a highly recommended collection. So Dave Oliver visits one of Wiltshire's premier aviation museums, charting the long and varied history of British Army aviation. Located near the perimeter of Middlewall Airfield in Wiltshire, the Army Flying Museum first opened its doors in 1974. They've got aircraft from all over. So we've got our Lynx. I love the Lynx. A Bell 47G, 4A. Nice. It's kind of like the, if anybody remembers the Whirlybirds program, it's very similar to that. Some other stuff, there's a horse or glider there. Yeah, really, I need to sort myself out a car. I need to start going and seeing these places. And I did forget, I do apologise, just quickly going back to our MRAP. So it's from Kinetic, it's 135 scale, £49 from luckymodel.com. Do apologise for that. Right, Bellissima Bugatti. Now, I'm not a big one for cars, but I kind of like these things, but I'd probably only really be interested if they were Maserati. And the reason for that is because my maternal grandfather used to race Maserati, and if I remember rightly, he brought Maserati to the UK. But yeah, he used to race Maserati. I have been told by family members that his name, Outlaw, is on the race boards that are held at Brooklands Museum up near Woking. How true that is, I don't know. I haven't been up there to check myself, but it would be nice to go and have a look. So yeah, maybe not Bugatti. Maybe if it was Maserati, I might be interested. But this looks nice either way. Am I going to say that's Brooklands Racing Green? Brooklands British Racing Green, which a lot of British cars were painted in, sort of like in the 60s and 70s. Explores the new 1/12 scale Bugatti from Italy and finds a use for shoelaces along the way. That's interesting. So this is Bugatti Type 35B, and it's, wow. Okay, all right, fair enough. It's £174.99 from hobbyco.net. So yeah, I think you'll probably only be getting this if you're a real car enthusiast. Advanced build. Just looking at the complex parts, etc., that are going on to this, and it looks like they've, I don't know if this comes as standard, but like HT leads and stuff like that are all being put onto the engine, so that's nice. But it looks good. It looks, they've done a really nice job on this. Bugatti schemes. The decal sheet included the race numbers, while the instructions also had outlines for making replacement masks as an option. 2 liveries are available, with 1 each in racing green and French blue, so racing green. 1929 Monaco Grand Prix winner, number 12 William Gover Williams, and 1930 Monaco Grand Prix second place Louis Chiron. Yeah, just check this out. The car started to emerge once the dashboard and bulkhead were installed. Chrome coverings were stripped from the axle before it was sprayed with Alcad's equivalent. So that is a nice build. I'm not, as I say, I'm not really a car person, but that's actually quite nice. And if they were, like I say, if they were to perhaps do a Maserati, I might be interested. Bounty Hunter gunship. So what scale? 188 scale for Boba Fett's Starship. A suitably used universe look as it appears in the Star Wars films and Disney series. Book of Boba Fett. The paddle firewalls were fairly basic, but had sufficient detail given they were mostly hidden. Although they offered plenty of opportunity for scratch building efforts. Right, Boba Fett Starship from Revel. It's 188 scale, €43.99 from revel.dn/en. I think Revel have, I think it's Revel have made a series of Star Wars vehicles in 172 scale, which is great, because one of my biggest complaints when I, as a kid, Airfix did a lot of stuff for Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and a lot of their stuff was just a mix of different scales, which was really annoying, because it would have been nice if everything was the same so that it could be put together. But it's nice to see that manufacturers are starting to standardise certain ranges so that everything is the same scale. I like that. And that's looking really dense. I think it's looking, I like it, but I think it's perhaps overly grimdark. What do you think? Leave a comment. Let me know if you think that they've perhaps gone a little bit overboard with the weathering on that. Modelling Heaven, out and about. Where's this? Stoke Model Show. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here. Brilliant, love it. A Chaos Helldrake, nicely rendered in yellow and metallics. A nice AV8B Harrier. In actual fact, mentioning it earlier, you don't often see in-flight models at shows, particularly of the Airfix 1/24 scale Harrier Super Kit. So Stephen Goldby's US Marine Corps AV8A definitely stood out at the IPMS North Riding store. That's really nice. Again, in a wraparound grey-green colour scheme. I like it. Right, so here's the exclusive build, which is the new 1/48 scale Fairy Gannet AS1 Anti-Submarine AS. Fairy's Gannet was developed for the Royal Navy as a carrier-borne anti-submarine warfare and strike aircraft, able to detect, mark, track and destroy hostile submarines. So obviously from Airfix 148 scale, it's £54.99. Don't forget, if you're an Airfix Club member, you do get a small discount. But yeah, it looks like it's been well detailed as a 148 scale kit. Of course, you wouldn't expect anything less. Digging these black and yellow stripes on it. And here's our torpedoes for obviously killing subs, and I'm assuming these are sonar buoys. Have we got anything which says that that's what they are? No. Yeah, well, here we go. Weapons option B. No, nothing. Although it's saying that these might be depth charges rather than torpedoes. I suppose that could be right. It's saying here, weapons option B provided a colourful addition to the bomb bay. Alternatively, there is a pair of Mark 30 torpedoes in place of the depth charges. Okay, so yeah. Oh, and we get a little in focus article on the Gannet. It really is an ugly looking thing. It's not, I'm going to be honest, it's not floating my boat. Plenty of photograph references though. Right. And then paint it black. Isra Deckel Studios 148 scale Texan 2 trainer, and completes it as an RAF machine with a high gloss finish. So Isra Deckel Studios, I've never heard of them before. It's $40 from isradeckel.com. And again, plenty of detail. Instrument panels for the RAF version have integrally moulded details that must be removed and replaced by MFD decals. The screens for these were masked to retain some reflective quality against the matte panel. Again, they've done a really nice detailing job on those. It's a striking bird. you know, with that black and yellow colour scheme. So after the varnish had cured properly, the deckling could start. There you go. Right, airfield accessory range white. We've seen that before. Continuing success, the Yeovil Spring Show. Somebody's done a fairy gannet. Only in 172 scale this side, this time. One of the highlights of the Yeovil show was a Trumpeter 135 scale Czech operated Milmy 24V Alien Tiger, displayed by the Trowbridge composite wing. That's the art. Looking at the artwork on that, that's fantastic. I wonder if that was freehand. Gilding the Lily. Special Hobby has attempted to upgrade the Worthy Academy 172 scale JU87G1 Stuka kit. How successful have they been? Peter Fearon takes a rare foray into smaller scale aircraft to find out. So intermediate build again. Special Hobby JU87D 5 Axis satellites, 172 scales, €24.20 from specialhobby.eu. So plenty of masking for the canopies and stuff, which is nice. It's nice that a lot of manufacturers are starting to include these things, the masks and such. And the gull-shaped wing is absolutely synonymous with this aircraft. Spitfire Sensation, 132 scale. And this is Spitfire Mark 1 mid-production from Cotair. It's £109.99 from CotairModels.com. Oh, weighted tyres, that's nice. I do like to see weighted tyres for wheels down kits. Painting out the various internal sections. Again, that's, I mean, it's 132 scale, so it's going to have a lot of good detail in it. But it is nice looking at this. It looks crisp. Obviously base coating there, undercoating, and then detail painting. Really brought it out. That looks really nice. And again, really nice picture here of the cockpit instrument panel and the level of detail that can be achieved, and a side view of all the cockpit detail. That is good. So, yeah, nice. Okay, so Desert Cats, RAF Jaguars in the First Gulf War, round engine warbirds, naval aviation in the 1980s, Atlantic and Pacific Fleet Air Arms, propeller Twilight, the last generation of British piston engine fighters, Douglas DC-3, Legends of Flight, Douglas DC-3, a Sword for Peace and Liberty. Okay, yeah, so this was what I was talking about earlier about some of the 172 scale kits. So we've got Y-Wing, a Millennium Falcon, a TIE Interceptor, all being done in 172 scale, although these two are Revell and this is Bandai in 172 scale, but it's nice that you can get them. And then the shuttle is in 106 scale, and this Razor Crest from Bandai is in 1/220 scale. USS Grissom in 1/350 scale. Now, I used to work at Forbidden Planet in London, and they had a 1/350th Enterprise A in. Was it in this? Was it an A or was it a refit? Was it the refit? from the motion picture. Either way, in 135 scale, there's a lot of the detailing and stuff that was on the kit, because I did have a bit of a cheeky look inside, and a lot of the detailing in the kit was really nice. Right, on the shelf, Fokker F-27 Maritime Patrol in 172 scale, Avro Lancaster Mark 1A 172 scale. This is Planet models, never heard of them before. Special Hobby Mirage F1 EQED 172 scale. Tornado IDS, I think that stood for Interdiction and Strike Aircraft, IDS. 132 scale, and that's another pricey kit at £145. It's hilarious. Hella 148 scale Pilotus PC6 B2 H2 Turbo Porter, and a P400 from Edward in 148 scale. We also have an FA-18F Super Hornet, US Navy Special Colours, 148 scale, an AF2 Guardian Fire Bomber, 148 scale, and the MiG 19 PM, 172 scale. Armour M3A1 Scout Car from Italy in 172 scale. Now that's nice. Leopard 2A6 main battle tank Ukraine limited edition Ryefield models, 135 scale, 52 quid there. World War II US military patrol, ICM, 135 scale, 172 scale M1A1 AIM SA M1A2 Abrams from Revell. The Chevrolet C60L office lorry from IBG Models. And then a 135 scale T3485 Plant 112 Spring 1944. Figures. World War II German military medical personnel. That's from ICM. Survivors, SSR models, 135 scale, complementing SSR's apocalyptic zombie series. Comes a range of 3D printed survivor figure sets. There you go. US Tank Crew Mini Art 135 scale. And Mini Art 135 scale waiters. Very nice. And then some aftermarket decals. Yugoslav Air 4 F-47D White 109. Israeli Air Force Spitfire Mark 9s. BF 109Ks JG27 JG52. So this one is 148 scale. These are 124 scale, 148 scale. Dassault Falcon 10 Aeronautic Naval 148 scale. Bogies in Israeli Air Force, IAF, I believe that's Israeli Air Force service. This is Isra Decal again, 172 scale. And then Hawker Hurricane Mark 1 2B. Part 3 Royal Air Force, 148 scale. Ooh, Type 95 Hargo tracks. So I wonder if they would be compatible with the Chihar tank that Airfix do. Oh, there's a question. Somebody let me know. Has anybody done that? They may very well be completely different types of tread, etc., and link length, so they may not be practical. But they would certainly, I think, look a lot better than the rubber band tracks that Airfix provide, rather. World War II infantry paint set, US infantry paint set, I should say. Scale mask, United States Navy F-14B for 172 scale. BF-110E nose cones, so that's nice. Different nose cones for the Messerschmitt BF110 and A6M3 Type 22 folding wingtips for 1/48 scale aircraft. Plastic barrels and cans, modern plastic barrels and cans in 1/48 scale. That's a nice scenery piece for scatter terrain. BF109K wheels, BF110E wheels, so they would, that's 1/72 scale, that was 1/72 scale, yeah, so they would obviously match well together. And then I think we're into our last bit of advertising before our display case. Wow, that's pink. That would stand out. So we've got an Airfix 1/24 scale Mark 9C spit, the Airfix McLaren P1 quick build. Sophia Kiernan was adamant she wanted to... So, as I was saying, that's a really striking colour scheme. Sophia Kiernan was adamant she wanted to add a touch of pizzazz to her first model, an Airfix quick build McLaren P1. Being photographed for display case, it is now pride of place in the family display cabinet. And then we have the really nice 1/72 scale Heineken HE11P2, which replaced the older Airfix Heineken kit, which I can remember building as a kid. Yeah, so that was Airfix Model World issue 156. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, take care. Bye bye.